You're enjoying Racing World. It's brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your global motorsport podcast show brought to you in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.
Welcome to another edition of Racing World. This week, of course, from the Nashville Super Speedway for the final round of the NTT INDYCAR Championship for 2024. Three contenders in it: Scott McLaughlin, Will Power, Alex Palau. McLaughlin mathematically only a chance, pretty much will be gone after qualifying's taken place anyway. Comes down to the two of them. Will it be Palau or will it be Will Power? Both have a great chance. Nashville's certainly buzzing, that's for sure. Plenty going on this week in the city. The NFL team, the Nashville Titans, having their first, or Tennessee Titans, having their first home game of the season on Sunday. The race here obviously over the weekend, and it all kicked off last night with a media conference downtown on Broadway, famous for the honky tonk row, and there was over 30,000 people there last night for concerts in the street and a $50,000 pit stop competition as well. More on that in just a sec. First person we got to catch up with last night was the new signing at AJ Foyt Racing, so a power team there next year. Malukas and Santino Ferrucci returning. I think that's a great thing. Ferrucci, fantastic on the ovals. I asked him, of course, the question that we saw him in New Zealand a few years ago, and it was really good to catch up with Santino.
I loved it. Honestly, I want to go back to New Zealand just because of those 5 weeks I spent there. The people, the food, the racing. I mean, it was amazing. We ended up third in the championship, won a couple of races as well. I had a blast, and that's something as a young driver that I would highly encourage, because there's really not much going on in the wintertime. So I said, I just want to go back to New Zealand just to go on back and go to Queenstown again, have some, I believe it's Ferg Burgers, and go sit on the lake and play golf.
Well, you've got it all planned then, so we'll see you in the summer.
Sounds good.
Well, Ferrucci's one of those characters that you kind of got to like. He's a little bit cheeky, says it as it comes, learns a lot from AJ Foyt, big thing signing for Foyt. I think there's big things in store for that team. Going to see plenty more out of them, and teamed up with Malukas next year, I think that will be a great thing. This is really game time now for the AJ Foyt Racing team. And of course, they've got a strategic alliance with Team Penske, so a lot of things that can come into play with that. Speaking of Team Penske, the next person we caught up with last night, Will Power. This weekend, all you got to do is finish ahead of Alex Palau with a little bit of a twist, really, isn't it? But more of the same?
More of the same, yeah. It's funny, I mean, we've closed that gap. We have done what I said. Really been in the position to finish ahead of him ever since Toronto. But two mistakes, and that hurt us a lot. But yeah. But we're within a chance. We have a chance. That's a good feeling.
Milwaukee proved that there is a good chance there because of perhaps how he performed in Milwaukee. It can show you that the job can be done here in favour of Will Power.
I think we can certainly win the race. I'm not. I think our overall performance all year has been really, really good. I think Ganassi will be good here, though. Based on the test I did, Dixon was very strong, the strongest of everyone who tested there. So, I'll have our work cut out for us. But at the end of the day, we're relying on him having a bad day.
Well, from one side of the Tasman to another, Will Power certainly looking very good here. I pick him for a race win this weekend, and then the rest of it will play out however it plays out. The other person that I also think could take a win this weekend is Kiwi Scott McLaughlin. Now, I promised him a few weeks ago some fresh New Zealand Whittaker's chocolate, so I caught up with him as a bit of a surprise last night.
Go for it, Dave.
Hey, guys. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Okay, now, first thing, time for Kiwis.
That's small, that camera.
It makes you look good.
Yeah. Hello.
I bought you your Whittakers.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So
I can't have them until later on, after quali.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
it'll be extra light for quali.
Now, you said to me a week or so ago you'd never seen this place, you had no idea what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
I'm assuming now you've seen it.
Yeah.
So what do you think it's going to be like?
Oh, it'll be interesting. I think even looking at the old races and stuff, it was still very single groove in some ways. So hopefully, like the alternate tyre and the downforce package that we've brought is going to be pretty good for racing. I have a lot of faith because we have tested here before with other cars, and that's what we did at Gateway. That's what we did for Milwaukee, and they brought some really good packages for us to race against. So, ultimately, I just hope the racing's good, and I think it will be. I have no reason why it won't.
Deliver us a good race, and I'll deliver the Whittakers.
Yeah, that will work. That will work. Yeah.
Yeah, well, McLaughlin's got to earn that chocolate first, so let's see what happens. First thing that happened Saturday morning was a practice session out on the oval. Now, you've got to remember with this oval, it's just a concrete surface, not asphalt, so it's quite different. Very few people had actually been here, let alone raced here, so there was a lot going on. There was an early casualty for McLaren when Nolan Siegel hit the wall, put a bit of a dent in the safer barrier as well, brought practice to a halt for a little while, got the McLaren boys working really hard. But as I said earlier on, it was a party atmosphere like no tomorrow downtown in Nashville last night. There was just people everywhere. The pit stop time competition was great. Marcus Ericsson taking out that 50,000 US prize fund in that thing. So, you know, there's good money and good incentive for these teams to compete in those sorts of things. But the party atmosphere was like nothing we've seen before. Nashville really turning it on. First major laps here at Nashville as an oval. What's the first thoughts?
It's okay. Qualifying was a bit tough. I don't know why, but we just didn't have the speed. We had to change chassis and everything after that crash with Newgarden at Milwaukee, so maybe that has something to play. But yeah, I mean, it felt good. The car felt good. My lap was clean and I was flat, so just a little bit confused as to why we lacked so much pace.
Noticed this morning, particularly in the INDY NXT series, and then once obviously with Nolan Siegel and INDYCAR, that bump. How bad is that bump?
It's not ideal. Luckily in our car it feels not too bad. I've seen in other cars you sort of hit the bump and lose the rear, whereas for us it's sort of been a bit the opposite. You hit that bump, you lose the front. So far it hasn't been too much of a problem for me, but when the tyres start to become a little bit older, we will expose more problems, I imagine.
And then just speaking of tyres, obviously you've got an alternative tyre that you can run here this weekend. You're used to the strategy game on a road course. Is that going to be any different on an oval?
Maybe. I don't know. It could be, considering we have to run 2 sets of these alternates, if they don't work in long runs, then it can be quite a difficult run. I think our only way to overtake here is with tyre deg, so that's what I've tried to do. And even back in 07 and 08, it was quite difficult to overtake, so I don't imagine it will be magically much better tomorrow.
Now, I know it's not an NTT P1 award for you, but we've been promising you this for weeks.
Beauty.
Okay.
It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, good Kiwi stuff.
I just want to say on behalf of all the New Zealand people, if we don't get the chance to catch up tomorrow, you've done the country proud
Thanks,
this year.
man. Yeah.
And we're looking forward to many adventures ahead.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I appreciate all the support from few and far between, and obviously Kiwi land's a big deal for us. So, you know, just one day, hopefully we can get a little a race down under. It'd be pretty cool down there, and be awesome race back home in front of the home fans. But awesome.
All the best to you and Carly in the coming weeks as well.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Well, there you have it, post-qualifying thoughts from both Marcus Armstrong and Scott McLaughlin. Armstrong, I thought, was a little bit flat, not overly happy with where he qualified, but when you put it into context, the whole Ganassi squad didn't qualify that well, and that was a big surprise after them being very, very quick in the first and only practice session there was earlier in the morning. Conditions changed a little bit, rain coming in, lots of other variable factors in that, but at the end of the day it wasn't what they were expecting. Kirkwood taking the pole position. And then for the championship contenders, obviously Palau now starting 24th with an engine penalty for another, or a grid penalty for another engine change, and Powell more towards the front of the field. Still got that margin of points though that he's got to claw back on Palau, but the advantage, well, I think it's pretty level playing field now. Advantage maybe slightly towards Powell because of where he's starting in the race. So it'll be a great race. The concrete surface, the bump in turn 3 and 4, all that'll come into play. And of course there's the INDY NXT race as well, with Callum Hedge starting 5th on the grid for that one. Forecast for tomorrow, much better than today. Today hit with heavy downpour of rain just as the day finished, so certainly not the fun thing to do. But big race ahead tomorrow for both INDY NXT and of course the NTT INDYCAR Championship decider here from the Nashville Super Speedway. We'll see you then.
You're enjoying Racing World. It's brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your global motorsport podcast show brought to you in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.